Good morning, everybody. We are going to start, just 5 minutes late. I hope we will get in time all the day. Maybe not sure. Okay. To start the workshop, I propose you to listen to Lydia Heraud, which is elected from the new Aquitaine Conseil region and dealing with viticulture. And she's going to say a few words to welcome, and then Ambre will just speak us very quickly about the VitiREV project, and then I'll try to explain how the workshop is going to go on in the today and tomorrow. Okay? We normally have enough time for the speakers to explain clearly and to have discussions and questions even just after they speak, or we have some sessions with discussion. So don't hesitate to ask a question. Lydia?
Merci Marc. Alors on va tester, je crois, la traduction en direct. Bienvenue à toutes et à toutes pour ce séminaire international que j'ai le plaisir d'accueillir ici à l'hôtel de région de Nouvelle-Aquitaine en tant que conseillère régionale déléguée à la viticulture. Certains le savent, mais c'est bien de le rappeler, la région Nouvelle-Aquitaine est la première région agricole de France et d'Europe, avec un certain nombre de particularités. Elle est très diversifiée. Je ne sais pas si ça marche en fait. Ça s'est arrêté. Bon, je vais continuer quand même, on vous fera passer les éléments. Une agriculture très diversifiée, puisque nous avons en Nouvelle-Aquitaine des grandes cultures, de l'élevage, du maraîchage, de l'arboriculture, de la viticulture, avec une particularité qui est qu'un grand nombre de ces productions sont sous signe de qualité et d'origine, des AOC, des IGP, des labels rouges, avec plus de 60 000 exploitations de taille et de nature extrêmement variées. Et notre région est particulièrement impactée par le changement climatique, ce qui a un effet négatif sur les rendements des différentes cultures et sur le revenu des agriculteurs. On a mené en 2024 une mission d'information et d'évaluation de la politique agricole de notre région. Et à cette occasion, nous avons auditionné plus de 110 personnes représentant plus de 50 interprofessions, coopératives, syndicats agricoles. Et bien sûr, la question de la sécurisation du revenu agricole face aux risques climatiques et au changement de pratique des agriculteurs est un sujet essentiel pour l'avenir de notre agriculture. Et nous poursuivons aujourd'hui ces travaux avec le lancement d'un think tank agricole qui a pour ambition de tenter de répondre à des questions complexes. Comment produire plus et mieux avec des pratiques plus respectueuses du vivant? Comment garantir un revenu juste et garanti pour les agriculteurs tout en restant compétitifs? Comment nourrir sainement toute une population sans creuser les inégalités? Mais quand on a réuni le premier think tank avec un certain nombre d'experts, une des premières pistes de réflexion rejoint précisément les sujets que vous allez partager durant ces 2 jours. Quels outils de gestion des crises et des risques pouvons-nous collectivement imaginer et mettre en place? C'était ça la question qui est ressortie en premier de cette première séquence de think tank. Et en fait, cette question, on a commencé la réflexion dès 2017 pour la viticulture, avec donc la Nouvelle-Aquitaine, c'est une très très grande région viticole avec 2 très grands bassins que sont Bordeaux et Cognac, mais aussi d'autres plus petits vignobles sur 10 départements sur 12 et plus de 11 000 exploitations viticoles. Et depuis une dizaine d'années, les pratiques des vignerons ont beaucoup évolué vers des pratiques plus vertueuses. Et dans cette même période, les rendements ont été impactés presque chaque année par des accidents climatiques, des gels printaniers, des grêles, des sécheresses, des canicules ou des précipitations intenses. Et avec un programme qui s'appelle VitiREV, que nous avons commencé à réfléchir, à co-construire dès 2017, et je salue Yann Reynaud qui a été à l'initiative, Anne-Sophie Mazur était là aussi, quelques-uns ont contribué à ce démarrage. On a co-construit avec plus de 200 partenaires un plan d'action et d'expérimentation dans lequel, précisément, cette question de l'assurance au changement de pratique a été expérimentée avec 2 coopératives, un assureur et l'IFV, avec Marc Raynal précisément, mais je le laisserai en parler plus en détail et je le remercie pour son investissement dans ce programme, VitiREV, mais aussi pour l'organisation de ces 2 journées. Mais Ambre Nelet va revenir sur la globalité de ce programme. Donc en tout cas, merci d'être là pour partager les initiatives et réflexions et recherches en cours, parce que la région Nouvelle-Aquitaine s'inscrit avec enthousiasme dans vos travaux et je pense qu'ils seront inspirants. Merci.
Merci Lydia. Ambre, ouais. Juste, donc, Noémie me disait pour la technique, there's a time for switching between French and English. That's why it was a little bit late at the beginning. And I think also maybe we have to speak slowly because I don't know if artificial intelligence is intelligent enough. Ambre, will you speak in French or in English?
In English, but I will read my paper.
Good.
It will be easier for me and quicker for everybody. So I'm very, very happy to see you, everybody gathered in our house, the Regional Council of Aquitaine, Nouvelle Aquitaine. And my name is Ambre Nelet. I work for the Department of Agriculture, and I'm in charge of a collective program called VitiREV. And Marc Raynal asked me to explain how the insurance experiment carried out by IV, Groupama, and the cooperative wineries of Cognac and Boucher fits into VitiREV. But therefore, I would like to explain where we come from and how do I change this presentation? I don't know. There is no. I need the remote. So I have to explain where we come from. So our collective was born at the end of the 2010s when parents' associations, journalists, you see cash investigation, and environmental NGOs denounced the heavy use of pesticides in viticulture. And as our region is a leader in wine and spirits, we were obviously, clearly in the spotlight. So, 60 partners, amongst them wine interprofessional bodies, unions, chambers of agriculture, academics, and institutions, decided to join forces and roadmaps to accelerate the reduction of pesticides. That's how we became a territoire d'innovation, an innovative territory, labeled and funded by a major national investment program called France 2030, France 2030. So we still have several goals, like engaging 85% of vineyards in certification, replacing synthetic chemistry with organic approved products, and freeing vineyards from the use of herbicides. That's our goals, main goals. And the action plan of VitiREV, which I will not detail today because it's a very huge program for 8 years, and aims to provide solutions for wine growers, you see, all along the wine chain, so from vineyard to the consumer. And major solutions are listed in a guide that we called VitiREV en solution, VitiREV in solutions, that you can find on our website. You see the QR code. And maybe one day, insurance for practice will be part of this guide. I hope so. But for now, we must admit that in uncertain economic and social context, conventional farming is still seen as a more viable in the short term than ecological transition. Nevertheless, for 6 years, our 60 partners have been testing many ways to make transition viable for our 10,000 winemakers. That's a huge region, 10,000 winemakers, 2,000 hectares. And we have learned 3 main lessons. First of all, there can be no transition without export. That's why we went to Brussels, what was during May, I think. And you know that the role of the European Union is essential. That's why now they are in the spotlight. That's not us, that's them. And agroecological transition requires long implementation times And we are very confident that research in nature-based solutions will help us to make it possible. And third one, transition cannot succeed without a viable economic model. And for that, we need to ask, that's the main question, where does the greatest risk lie in using pesticides? We have to change our mind. From these lessons and the more than 60 solutions already proposed by VitiREV partners, we see 3 key levers for the transition. The first one, plant material. Developing resistant varieties and biosolution combinations is probably our best way to replace pesticides. We need to industrialize this more quickly. It's not quick enough today. And adaptation requirements, we are working with what we call INAO today. We see if we manage to do it faster with them. One grows data must be shared to help interprofessional bodies and public authorities anticipate and support changes. For instance, today, we cannot even legally geolocate all plots. We don't have a right to do that. That's nonsense. And what is interesting for today, risk management and sharing, this may be our best way to speed up changes in practices, as long as we also look at sharing the added value of the transition. Actually, that's the same question. Who will be, we have to think about qui sera le premier bénéficiaire de la transition. We have to change our mind. I'm confident that these 2 days of international seminar will once again help us to progress further on this major topic. Thank you.
Okay. I don't have a paper, so I guess I'm going to speak slowly enough for the artificial intelligence. Welcome. Okay. Just a few slides to introduce the workshop and just to speak about the ARRUPVICO project. Okay, just before you all have a paper, just to, if you have any comments or questions, you can. The question we can discuss all together, but maybe ideas you may think they are important for the insurance subject, whether positively or negatively, different points that we have to take into account if we want to have a success for this program. What we want to do is to try at the end of each day to have a sum up, which will be done by Jan and with colleagues, Luc, Cécile, Ambre, anyone who wants to construct these ideas, so that these ideas will be given by Jan at the end of the day, and we will discuss about these points, okay? Second point, we spoke about ARRUPVICO. It's a strange name, okay? And I want to put here the pictures of all the team, and thanks all the colleagues for the work we did for almost 3 years. ARRUPVICO stands for the assurabilité, insurance of the risk due to reduction of phytosanitary treatments for vines and colza, okay? So there are some colleagues from up here, Decid&Risk. Almost all of the people are here. Economists, Cécile, Anne-Sophie, Yann, and Marianne also. Colleagues from science and INRAE, with Marc Fermot, François Brun from ACTA, and David Makowski, who is not here. And some colleagues from Technical Institute, Terry Novia, David and Stéphane, and me for the vine. Okay, the aim of the project is, this project is funded by the French government, and we are trying to share experience and experience on insurance and recommendations which could be made to the government to improve our insurance system on climatic and sanitary risk. Not climatic, but just trying to manage both these 2 points. Okay. So colleagues are working on risk modeling for agronomic approaches, and for the vine, we are working with also trying to develop a digital interface for the insurance management to help the vine growers and to have a traceability of their production system for insurance. And then for Terrinovia, they are working also on modeling on rapeseed. Some results will be presented by Pablo. Okay, that's it. Okay. Just to introduce the workshop and the subject, I'm not going to speak later on for the 2 days, so I just take time at the beginning and trying to to give the idea of the historics of the insurance, why I'm convinced that it is absolutely necessary. And I took this picture from my colleagues. Okay, what if grain insurance could help to reduce the chemical inputs? Okay, this slide is, okay, this graph is a little bit complicated, but not so difficult. This is the sanitary health of an untreated plot network displayed in the Aquitaine vineyard. Each lane is 1 year, and each lane represents almost 100 untreated plots. And this is the healthy status of the untreated plots. At the beginning of the season, you can see no untreated plots as symptoms of downy mildew, no destruction. And you can see that in June and July, we have some decrease of the frequency of untreated plots which are healthy. For this graph, I took the threshold of 20% of destruction of the vines, okay, of the clusters, fruit, they harvest. Okay, 20% is the threshold for usually deductible level, okay? And you can see that we have a lot of variation of this disease pressure during July and August. Almost 50 years, not 50, 50% of the years, the destruction is less than 50% of untreated plots which are destroyed. These are very high pressures, and you can see 2024 was very, very strong disease pressure, 2023 also, 2025, quite no disease. Okay, so this is since 2011. We can see that almost 1 year out of 2, the frequency of untreated plot destroyed more than 20% is less than 50%. So I'm about to think, I'm not sure, but I think we can just say this also, that an untreated plot is destroyed more than 20% just 1 year out of 4. And this is what we have to have into account to consider that, okay, the agroecological transition, we have to go into it because a lot of treatments are applied when it's not necessary. So, covering this risk, is this an utopia or is this a necessity? And for the first session, we will have an historical context. We will see the nowadays issues and challenge given by Christian, Julian, and Alexis. Okay. Ambre and Lydia said we had this experiment on the New Aquitaine vineyard with 2 wineries from 2019 to 2022. The experiment was developed according to years from 70 to 110 hectares. And what can we say? We have Alex, who is here, made a little study to count the amount of the chemical treatments applied to a Bordeaux wine bottle. And the cost of the phytosanitary treatments is just less than 4%. So when we want to reduce the chemicals from 50%, we propose to the vine growers to earn 2% of the bottle, but taking the risk to lose almost the half bottle, or sometimes the totality of the bottles. Okay. So during this experiment, thanks to Groupama, one colleague is here, we tested an insurance to cover the risk of no treatment. Okay, the main result is that during these 4 years, we managed to reduce the chemicals from 45%, so also almost the objective was reached. The variation was 30 to 55%, but in 2022, remember it was a low downy mildew pressure. In the Boucher area, we had very strong downy mildew attacks, and we had 20 hectares, which about 20 hectares, the experiment was led on 80 hectares. So 1/4 of the surface was attacked with a total destruction on almost 4 to 5 hectares. So this led to the withdrawal of the insurance company, and we stopped the experiment in field. So covering the agroecological transition is a necessity, but it's a paradox for an insurer. Okay, so after the historical context, we will have 2 other feedbacks on risk pooling. One given by Peter in Australia, coming from Australia, and one from Italy with Giuseppe, okay? And then, okay, if it's a paradox for an insurer, on the 3rd session, we will try to see how we can rethink the mutualization of risk with incentive new contracts. Mathilde Viennot, she's not with us because she's pregnant, she's in Paris, but she will have a speak. And then Cécile and Marianne will go on this subject. Okay, insurance, a paradox. So for now, we tried to see what other tools we could develop with assurance. And at the European level, we have fundings from different types of funding. We call them MAEC, agroecological and climatic measures. PSE is a payment for ecological services, which are developed. These expenses are systematic, but they are not, the problem is that they are not a sustainable resource for the growers, and they are not linked to real losses. So that's why I wanted to point it. Maybe if untreated plot is destroyed just 1 year out of 4, maybe we can save some money. Okay, so if we want to take this risk and to improve this risk and maybe move from an insurance covering non-treatment but toward an insurance covering the production, we have to improve the knowledge and improve the modeling. That's what will be seen in the 4th session with François, Clément, Pablo, and Martial, explaining their results for vine and rapeseed. Okay. And then, do we have to develop an insurance for the agroecological transition or an income insurance? And the idea here was to see, I think we have this type of income insurance in the United States of America, and I asked why can we not develop this in Europe? So the idea is to have the insurer's point of view, and Antoine, Michael, and Vincent will give us their point of view. And then the final session, we will have a work session with 4 groups to try to summarize the prospects and identification of research areas which seems to be important for us to develop on this topic. Okay, I thank you for your attention. I hope I was not too long.